Well, I've been kicked out of my near every bar around. I've been locked up for driving 120 through town. I've been shot at and cut with a knife, messing around with another man's wife. But other than that, we ain't nothing, just good old boys. Threw my boss out the window and got fired for my last job. Hot-wired a city truck and turned it over in the mayor's yard. Beat my brother-in-law half to death. Lost $20 on his football bet.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wade and Carter Show. 7 o'clock Thursday morning. Wade and Carter bingo night tonight.
So much to do today. So much to talk about. Very exciting morning.
Guests.
The Wade and Carter weather brought to you immediately by the great folks at AT Dearland Feed. The little gin that could. For over 50 years, Victoria has been served by these great folks, the Dearland family. 64 degrees in Victoria, heading to a high today of 90. It's partly cloudy right now. The sun will be out in full force. 90 degrees, Ash, today.
Yeah.
Allegedly. I don't think it's going to get to 90, but it'll feel like 90. You know, like we're going back down to Port Lavaca to a track meet, and I know that that's going to involve heat in the stands.
And Noah all worried that the cuts to Noah are going to affect meteorologists and the accuracy of forecasts.
Like they're accurate now. I mean, they're wrong more than half the time. Of course, if you bat 500, you can be in the Hall of Fame.
I mean, I don't know how many years ago was it? 20 when they took the weather station away from Victoria? And has anybody? I mean, I don't think our forecasts are quite as accurate, but is it really mattered and made a difference?
We used to have here 8 years ago, we talked about the Wade and Carter weather rock. You know, if you look outside and the rock is dry, it's sunny. If you look outside and the rock is wet, it's raining.
It'll be a little moist this morning.
What does it really matter?
Fog,
you know,
dew.
This time of year, am I wrong? This time of year, dress for the weather you feel, take a sweater. I mean, you
Probably
know,
fair. Yeah.
It's like it is what it is.
Yeah.
But it's good to know. It's always good to know when you're predicting things such as hurricanes and those types of things.
Josh Moore is going to visit by and stop by. He is running for VISD trustee, so we'll get more on his campaign. And we're expecting State Senator Lois Kohlkorst to join us any minute, and we will discuss Senate Bill 2361. For those of you not in the know, that is the bill she filed yesterday to transfer UH Victoria to the Texas A&M system. So we'll get the details on that from Senator Kohlkorst here momentarily. So looking forward to that conversation.
Yeah,
and then I believe towards the end of the show, my daughter Tyler is going to stop on by again. Great updates from Goliad Rodeo, and she's got some commitments from some of the top cowboys and cowgirls in the world that will be visiting Goliad this weekend.
Very proud to have the senator call, but doesn't that kind of complete our political corral?
Trifecta.
So we've had our Congressman Michael Cloud on. And today we'll pick up our state senator. And we've, of course, had both Jeannie Morrison when she was state rep and our Honorable House District 30 state rep, AJ Louderback. We've had, of course, our county judge. We've had the mayors.
Not
We've
the
had
current
the school board superintendents. We've had numerous city council members.
Congressmen Fairenthold and Cloud
and Roy
and Chip Roy. Yep.
And we've had didn't we have the Attorney General on once?
Oh yeah. Ken Paxton's been on
the program. And it's always flattering that these folks who are in the know, this is not, we always say news right from the source. And today it's news right from the Kohlkorst, and we cannot wait to get it.
Ricky King, good morning. Mark Kurtz, good morning.
The commander is muttering over there. He had something. I'm
and
sure.
Daniel Wade White.
So you guys have peaked, is what you're saying?
Yeah,
it's all downhill
from here. This is our last show.
Okay.
This is our last show.
We'll come back every now and then for like breaking news stories or something.
Cue the MASH theme song. You know what that song was, right?
No, I don't.
The song is called "Suicide is Painless." So
This is what you'll hear from us after
Aunt
today.
Betty? Aunt Betty, is that you?
Hello.
Yeah, no kidding. Bless her heart. She's probably listening in. Good morning,
Probably.
Aunt Betty.
Rena Scherer, good morning. Scott Tomko, Greg Garcia, David Glass, Judge Posey, Michelle Wilson Hawkins, Heather Stewart, Lisa Poole, Junior
Hello,
Samples.
Judge. Hello, BJ.
Looks like Junior's back off of his Facebook.
Was he on a
no.
hiatus?
Yeah, he
was he banned?
Yeah, I think he was temporarily shuttered. Yes. Justin Glass, BJ Nelson, Dottie Bitterly, Stephanie Connie, Bobby Leister. Good morning. Suffering from his Caldo hangover. Micah Patton, Monty Howard, Peter McNally, Tammy Keeling, Stephen Castaneda,
Hey, Carter.
Marvin Mickers, Linda Chris, Sarah Elkins, Jeff Finley, Andrew Alvarez. Mom, good morning.
Hey,
Matt
Mom.
O'Shea. Scott Tomko says he's anxiously awaiting the first wave of the mosquitoes this year. Scott Snow, good morning. Tammy Williams, Jarrett McCrugan, Jason Brannon, Sherry Jacobs.
Do you guys feel like it's safe to say that are we past the freeze line? Is it not going to freeze again?
BJ says if it's our last show, our last checks in the mail.
Last checks in the mail. Thank you.
Can anyone hear me?
Oh,
Anyone there?
Andy Rockovich, good morning. Junior Sample says he's always available to help save the show. We appreciate
yeah,
that.
we know, Junior.
Yeah, we know, Junior.
If we ever decide to go back to that level,
Our
we'll
state
call you.
representative, the Honorable AJ Lauterbach, checking in. Yeah, Wade and Carter
Good
bingo
stuff.
night tonight.
Good stuff.
I'm curious to see how this vote for the continuing resolution in the Senate will go. I know we're going to talk more about that tomorrow with Congressman Michael Cloud.
What is your take that? So the story I got was they want to continue the debt ceiling, if you will, right where it is, which is
Better than what
better than-
because
than
at one point
bouncing
we
it up.
heard they were going to bounce it up a few trillion.
just a couple of trillion.
I guess they don't have to do that now that they've found enough waste amongst the Doge folks. But I don't know. It'll be interesting because the Senate, they need 60 votes, I think, to not have it filibustered, right?
But am I wrong that it went from like the ceiling went from 4 point something trillion to 7 point something trillion or whatever under Joe Biden?
It's been going up. I'm not going to just put it all on.
I can't put it all on Joe either.
Because don't forget the first wave of COVID spending that started this stupid spree was under President Trump in his first term.
Right.
Both presidents, against a lot of advice not to print money and spend it,
Right.
did not heed that.
There you
Oh,
go.
we have to do something. Remember, we tried that too. Oh, we got to get into this
The COVID
loan,
loans.
the COVID loan
I
plan.
think they
thing.
gave one loan. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if it was forgiven or paid back. You see where they're calling now, folks are calling now for universities and for the federal government to stop providing student loans.
Yeah, that cry is getting.
And the idea being that if you don't have student loans, it doesn't cost $100,000 a year to go to college.
Here's the
That's
thing: it
deal.
shouldn't cost you $100,000 to go to college. If you're
Shouldn't.
sending your kid to $100,000 a year school, you're dumb, for lack of a better term.
I agree with that.
I mean, if you're just getting a bachelor's degree, and I don't know of a school it's going to cost you $100,000. Maybe if you factor everything else.
Well, not per
outside-
year.
Well,
Not
but
per
no,
year.
but
I think-
that's what they say though. I mean, that's a $400,000 bachelor
Yeah.
degree.
That's not
You'll
true.
never make that back in your lifetime almost.
No, especially if you have student loans. If you're making
Yeah.
the minimum on student loans, you'll
Yeah.
never, ever get it back.
No, but there's a lot of private schools where, tuition alone will run you 40, 45 grand, not counting your
Right.
room and board.
There's a
and
lot of
everything else.
D3 schools that will do that. You want your kid to go play D3 baseball? That's fine. He can go play D3 baseball. It's going to cost you $35,000 a year to send him to UT Arlington.
Yeah. And that's with the academic scholarship and aid.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Trinity, places like
Yeah.
that, very expensive, but private school education.
So, yeah. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer still blustering away, saying that the Democrats have the vote to block the House passed GOP spending bill.
Very interesting though that the Democrats have a platform, lots of things they can complain about, and they're talking about Khalid Mahmood, and so that's their deal. Their hill to die on is how a guy that's only been here 2 years has a green card. Hadn't figured that out.
Well, he married an American woman. It makes you wonder if it was an arranged marriage. I mean,
I think he was a plant.
But here's the thing: they're not arguing. Nobody on the left seems to be arguing about his First Amendment, which you could get into, they're saying that they're deporting him for his actions in overtaking a building on the campus of Columbia and such, right?
Right. And the fact is, they're saying that he's like aiding and abetting, if you will, the terrorist organization that's
Hamas,
supporting Hamas.
And they're saying that if he would have disclosed that he was coming here to
They would have
promote,
never
and
given
they would
him
never
a
have given him the visa.
Yeah.
But and so that's, but the left doesn't even seem to be arguing for his First Amendment rights. They're just going straight to the heartstrings. Oh, you're going to separate him from his wife and his soon to be born child. She has as much, she has as much right to go live wherever he came, Syria.
Yeah, send him. Very interesting.
But yeah, I mean, and granted, if it was strictly speech, I'd be against it. The fact that he commandeered buildings, closed them down, made it dangerous and threatened Jewish students at Columbia to go to campus, bye-bye.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah. So
it's funny though that Trump's deporting this guy, but Trump's the one that's anti-Semitic, right? I mean, Trump is the guy that hates the Jews. I mean, you better watch out. This guy's just like Hitler. And yet it's almost like the hills that the Democrats have chosen to die on. By the way, 20 weeks later, as the eggs are starting to come down in price, we all know, those of us that raise chickens, we know that it takes 20 weeks. A chicken farmer.
Well, there's more to the issue. We'll get, but the Trump administration revoked his green card, which they have the right to do. I had a green card.
It's a privilege to have a green card.
You get it for 10 years. You have to renew it every 10 years unless you adjust your status and apply to become a citizen, which
Did you
I
get
did.
it in 2 years? Were you here just 2 years when you got your green card?
No, I think almost 3.
Okay. Just wondered how a grad student, plus why is he on campus? He's already graduated.
That's the thing. He graduated. Yeah, he graduated from I don't think here. He was a grad student at Columbia University. But here's the danger of where we are right now. Everybody says, "Oh, the Supreme Court's been weaponized. The Supreme Court's been weaponized." You know who's really running this country right now? It's the district judges.
And I'm not sure.
Federal judges at the state level. The New York federal judge blocked any immediate effort to deport Khalil until his attorneys and the government appear in court.
See, that blows my mind.
They've never had to deal with that before.
If I'm the president of the United States, it's almost like you don't get the president of a company involved in some of the minutia. And if it does come to his desk, he just tells you what's going to happen, and then it happens.
Yeah.
For a district judge to stop something that the president of the United States,
that federal law has been passed by Congress and is allowed to happen.
I don't understand how.
And it's not just here. The judges are doing this all over the place. There's your danger.
They're leftist judges put in, via Soros and the Democrat Party. Very interesting.
So we'll see what happens with that. Has Russia accepted the ceasefire yet?
I don't know. President Trump said Wednesday that the ball is now in Putin's court.
So yeah,
as U.S. representatives headed to Russia right now as we speak, he said, to discuss the ceasefire proposal. I'm certain that the U.S. is going to sweeten the pot and say, if you will accept this ceasefire, and oh, by the way, wink, wink, promise not to attack us as we go get our precious minerals, we'll remove some sanctions against you. I'm sure that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, because we can't give up Ukraine's former sovereign territory that Russia has captured in this war.
And they're not going to get it back.
No.
Ukraine is not going to. You think they're going to get that land back?
Some of it.
It'll be ceremonial. There's always more to it than what. But speaking of always more to it, I watched a show this last week. It had 7 episodes, and I recommend it. Believe it or not, it's I'm just drawing a blank on the actor that's always railing against Trump.
Which one?
Robert De Niro. It's Robert De Niro. And I watched it kind of like I watched CNN. I watched it because I'm not a big De Niro fan these days because he's such a leftist idiot. And I watched the series called 0 Day. And it's De Niro cast as a former president. And by the end of the series, 7 shows, easy watch, interesting, very, very well done. Matthew Modine is in it. There's some good actors in it. I realized that Robert De Niro is essentially playing the role the way that Donald Trump would play the role. Very authoritative, very decisive, very well. I was like proud of him. And knowing now knowing him the way I know him, there's no way that this leftist clown is really that way. So I just thought it was interesting that that he can play that role when he's really not that guy. Now I don't mind waiting for a senator.
No,
but
we can bring Josh Moore in and talk with him real quick because
just walk over here, Josh.
Yeah, just be forewarned, sir. I don't want to hold up your day.
Yeah, I don't want to. If we don't want to hold up your day, and if the senator calls, you will be what we call usurped, and you will be out.
Bring that microphone all the way up to and speak right into that microphone. All just pull it right up. We'll get Commander Cody there.
Like you see this, just right here. It's uncomfortable almost.
Let your voters.
You can move it any way you
let your
want.
voters take a look at your pretty face and tell everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Moore. Appreciate you joining us, sir.
Are you running as a member of the pretty party? Is that
that's
better than a pity party?
But I should have done more work if I knew that was the plan.
Your makeup is on point. I saw
Thank
you
you.
had our makeup specialist out there.
Yeah, thank you.
How are you doing? Tell folks who you are, what you're doing, and why you're doing it.
My name is Josh Moore. I'm running for School Board District 7. Basically, the rural area of Victoria. It comes into Victoria in a few locations, but a little bit about me. I'm born and raised in Victoria, went to Victoria College, graduated with my bachelor's degree from UHV, and then I got my master's online. I ran a business for 2 or 3 years while I was working part-time at Victoria College. I ended up started a coach there, started to teach a lot of classes up there, started the athletic program at Victoria College, and that turned into me having more of a full-time job, and then turned into more than a full-time job, as Ash knows how that goes.
That's how we first met.
Yep. So I was there at Victoria College for 18 years.
Wow.
And the last 3.5 years, I've been working for my brother with JW Moore Construction, building new homes.
Y'all do a great job.
Thank you. Thank you. So the reason I switched from education and sports to that was me and my wife been married, I think 17 years now. Yep.
You better figure that one out.
Yeah. I'll figure it out before our anniversary.
There you go. As long as you know that date, you'll be all right.
Anyways, we had a life where my volleyball players were our kids for 12 years of our lives, and we didn't think we could have kids of our own, and we ended up starting fostering. We went through the whole fostering process. That's a tough process for whoever has been through it.
Sure.
So we did that. We were able to adopt our oldest, Jenna, which she's 8 now. Got her at 1 year old.
Awesome.
Anyways, my wife got pregnant during that process, and we ended up having 2 almost back-to-back, 14 months apart. And so we went from 0 to 3 kids in 14 months.
It's funny how that happens, right? It seems like
Yeah.
That whether it's the parenting process or the total removal of any pressure to get pregnant,
Sure. Yeah.
somehow, and compliment to her body relaxed.
Yep.
And she was able to conceive. But God bless you for adopting a child.
Yeah.
That's a special love.
Yep.
To take on a task.
It's tough. I mean, I would recommend it and not recommend it to everybody I've talked to, just because you've got to have thick skin, and the thickest of skins can't prepare you for what
I'm
have to
sure
go
you just
through.
feel violated with the whole foster process.
It's that, but the constant fear of when you get attached that
They're going
they
to take
could
him from you.
leave
Yeah.
any day.
Well, you can
So,
always tell your oldest, we had your brother and sister, but we chose you.
yeah,
And,
yeah, for sure.
And God bless you for that. Yeah, that's
So-
awesome.
So now you want to get into the realm of K through 12 public education.
Yeah.
What made you want to throw your hat into the ring?
Those three.
Bijou Nelson says she'd like to see all of you and would ask you to take your hat off.
She
But
said,
but I mean, it's yeah, I
He's
don't know.
still got it. That's okay. We call
He's still
that a
got
pile.
he's still got morning hair.
He
so
still
we can't
has
do
hair
that.
though.
Yeah.
That's the key.
That is the key.
Yeah, yeah.
Started was he the Doogie Howser of coaching? He looks 30. He
Might have
started 18 years later. Did you get married at 12?
No, I don't even know.
Grandmother
now
had
now
to
you
sign
having
off.
me do math at 7 o'clock.
Right.
Yeah, we can never.
Don't answer that. It was a trap.
No, it's a trap play. Yeah, don't answer that.
But the reason I'm getting into it, my three young girls, 4, 6, and 8 now. 2 are at VISD. The other one's going to start in the fall.
Awesome.
And when you're a coach, you get to build relationships with students that you don't maybe outside of coaching. You get to know the ins and outs. And so, yeah, I wasn't with the K through 12, but they were right there. They were 18 years old and they came to me with a lot of different backgrounds across the board. And that's something that, also drew me to want to run for school board because I see the pros and cons of some of the VISD's public education in years past, and just really wanted to make my difference with VISD school board. So,
Well, very
What
exciting.
do you think are the biggest challenges if you're elected as a board member that you'll have to try to tackle, or things that you think you can change, or what are you hearing from your constituents? I guess
Yeah.
maybe that's three questions in one.
well,
Wow, actually did a test. I'm sorry. It feels
Yeah.
like the STAR test.
yeah. Well, so I feel like our board members that have been here in the past have done a great job to hire a new superintendent. I think that was a lot of work by them. I'm coming in at the tail end of that. I just listened to a speech by the superintendent on Monday, and she was great. Everybody I've talked to have high hopes for the coming years with VISD with her in the lead. And so I want to, and that's the main job of a school board, is to make sure they've got the right personnel at top and to manage that and oversee things, oversee budgets. But the biggest challenge coming up is definitely the school, the buildings, the maintenance that is being paid for upkeep of those buildings. I'm in new home construction for a reason, because we grew up in old houses downtown blocks from here. I grew up in 2 houses within steps of this building right here, and we worked on them nonstop growing up. Nonstop. It's constant maintenance on an older building, and so we say that's why we're in predominantly new construction, me and my brother, because
You're tired.
it's so much work. It's so much work and so much money. You can build a new house sometimes for the cost it takes to constantly repair an old house.
We're visiting with Josh Moore. He's a candidate for school board coming up. When is that election?
May 3rd.
May 3rd. And he's got ideas and things. Are there, you never campaign on the idea of change. Like, what do you want to change? But how do you see, what direction do you see the school board going or needing to go? And what do you see as some of the focal issues, whether it be security, safety, curriculum, whatever? What do you see as some of the main issues for the district?
Well, as far as giving the kids a good foundation for their education, reading, writing, those are the core steps, and then mathematics. Everything outside of that kind of falls into line when you've got those 3 things in order. And with our district being where it is, as far as I think around 30% across the state of Texas, I just know that there's so much more room for improvement. I think a lot of that is with the change in the new superintendent. and the support that we can give her. Also retaining good teachers. There's a lot of talk on that. There's so much legislation going on. There's so much chaos going on with legislation right now. I hope to bring a calmness to that, whatever comes through legislation, good, bad for the district. There's so many mixed opinions on there, but bottom line, VISD has to work with the money that they're given. That's
Amen.
bottom line. And so managing that portion is what the school board and the superintendent have to work in collaboration with to make sure that every dollar and cent is used to educate our kids.
That's awesome. You know, I know the legislation's talking about, or the legislature is talking about increasing the funding to the schools. We hear, and it's probably accurate, that, you know, it's not enough. It's not enough of an increase. But I like the idea of somebody saying you've got to operate within your budget. You've got to do what you've got to do.
Sure. And I mean, a lot of that comes through experience. I mean, as Ash knows, you're given a limited budget when you're with education, especially with a sports program. And for you to use those dollars and cents to the best of your ability is a big deal. And I would say when it comes to coaching or directing anything, 95% of the battle is managing those funds.
Isn't it crazy though? You
Yeah.
look back, they gave you 3 volleyballs and 8 uniforms. And you're like, I got 12 players. They're like, well, get a booster club.
Exactly.
I mean,
exactly.
really, get a booster club. I got 12 players. You
Yeah.
need 4 more unis.
And so somehow you make it work and you do what you can, because it's bottom line, it all goes back to the kids. When I was coaching, when I was teaching, it's all about the students. It's all about the students. And when you put them as a priority and then find ways to get them to the goals that you're trying to get them to, that's everything for those students.
Well, you know, it's been my experience that like in the micro, when I meet teachers, principals, admin people, they're all focused, solid, caring, committed. But then when you look at it from up above, you kind of see chaos.
Yeah.
And I don't, which by the way, I could be wrong both ways. You know, maybe it's not chaos and maybe I'm just giving these people the benefit of the doubt. It's always been easier for me to make big swooping decisions. Like okay, let's just get rid of that entire department. I'm a Doge guy, right?
Yep.
But it's very difficult for me to look at that one guy that's a veteran that has been working at the, you know, I don't know, Department of Education for 20 years and say, pack your desk. That's
Sure.
not as easy for me.
Yeah.
But I think that's where we're at as a school district. We've got to start making tough cuts and tough decisions.
Yeah. And that's what the superintendent said in her talks is, you know, trying to eliminate some positions where she can, save some of that money, save some of that district money, spread it around to other teachers, other parts, because, you know, looking at it from, like you said, from up above, it looks like there's a lot of wasteful spending, but everybody knows that when you get into the weeds of it, it's not that simple. Just like the bond elections, you know, I'm very conservative. There's many bond elections I did not vote for. I'll tell you, because looking at it from up above, once you get to start knowing some of the teachers and some of the impacts that some of these bonds can have on the community, especially when it comes to new schools, when it's not such a big jump like the superintendent wants in the future, gradual bond elections. But those type of things, once you get into the weeds of everything, that you can see that benefits the community. I'm in the housing market right now. Good schools benefit everybody.
No doubt.
Home sales, just bringing new businesses into the
Yeah,
area.
you go to any city and that's always, you know, everybody wants to live in the district or close to good schools, depending on how,
Sure.
you know, how it's all set up.
And if you're starting a new business and you've got kids, do you want to come to Victoria with a 30% rating, or do you want to go somewhere else with an 80% rating?
Well, here's some quick hits for you.
Okay.
Adam Daughtry, to me, security and safety should be number one. Ricky King says VISD needs to bring up their stats in the state when we're in the bottom 25% of schools in the state. I think the idea being it's a chicken or egg deal, right? We'll
And-
support a
and-
winner, but you got to be
Yeah.
winning for
Well,
us to give you more money.
And we've
For
talked
sure.
about this. Think of the strides made under Quentin Shepard, because we were languishing even worse than that. I mean, there was talk at one time of taking over Patty Welder. There were, and so we've seen that.
JP Hull says, I'm thankful we have people like Nikki and Josh and BJ jumping into the ring for school board. It can be a thankless job.
I think it is.
It is absolutely a thankless
Oh,
job
for
because,
sure.
you know, half the people are going to be mad at you all the time.
That's,
That's
fine.
not the same half, but it's true though, you know, and
True. Yeah.
when you're a home builder though, I mean, like you're a living punch list.
Oh,
They're going
for
to be
sure.
on you.
For
all the
sure.
time.
It's part of that, having thick skin and being grounded in your morals and knowing that you're doing what's right because it's right for the people that matter. You know, the students. But when you've got the background and the knowledge, and again, know your path and know the goals for the district. You know, people are gonna get mad.
Is it
That's life.
unrealistic for people to put some of these expectations on the school board members, such as safety and security, raising the standards? I mean, I guess that would be the expectation of the superintendent that you would approve, but
I think everybody at top gets blamed, and rightfully so. In some cases, school board members, if you talk to anybody that's been on the school board or is currently on the school board, 90% of things that they have to vote on are decided ahead of time by legislation. Those are just procedural votes, and some things you can't change. There's curriculum that have to be approved by the state and different agencies. So in some cases, their hands are tied. And yes, there are decisions that are made by a school board that end up not turning out great. That happens, and you just have to live with those decisions.
So here's a question. Given
you mean
that,
like the 11-cent tax grab a few years ago that I still think is rubbing
it's
voters
still
the wrong
rubbing
way?
people
Yep.
the wrong way.
Yep,
No doubt
for
about
sure.
it. We told them then this is going to cost you for years to come. And of course it has.
Yep.
So here's my question to you. Would you be willing, and this is just out of left field, so Ash, don't hit me in the ribs like you usually do.
I'll just kick you in the shin.
If something came down from the state that you were just fundamentally against, and you felt like your constituency was like, no, we're not going to teach X, Y, Z in our schools. Would you feel comfortable joining with, lobbying with your current or with your school board mates to say, hey, we ain't doing that? Would you feel comfortable bucking the system, so to speak?
Well, there are lines that I morally could not cross.
Amen.
Let's put it that way. On the other hand, if it comes down from the state and you're legally obligated to do that, I mean, at that point, do I just step away?
Isn't
I
that something? That's really what I wanted from you. I really wanted that admission that at the end of the day, Ash, we don't have a whole lot of say here. I mean, what do we say the school board's job is? Approve the budget and hire the superintendent.
More or
Pretty
less.
much
Yeah.
stay out of the way.
95% of you're correct.
But that hire is usually reflective of the board and its leanings and its demeanor.
Sure.
and
I mean,
stance on things. So
if the superintendent makes mistakes, it's the school board that hired that superintendent. So, you know,
So you're
anytime
great because you get to come in at a time like, I didn't hire her. What are you
Yeah.
talking about, Shane?
and it's a 3-year term, so there's a lot of coasting that can happen because the superintendent, it's all on her right now. It's all on
Amen.
her.
I think by every report we've had since we had Miss Koyatsa on, she's doing a great job.
Yep.
She hit the ground running. She hit the ground with enthusiasm. And I haven't had an educator yet say, oh, this is, 2.0, or this is not going to work. Everybody seems really, really enthused, and enthusiasm is contagious.
Sure.
So
Yeah, and that's and time will tell on anybody that's in a position of authority, and I just see great things from her so far, and what she has planned for the future. One thing, she's taken responsibility from day one for things that happen in VISD, and responsibility as a leader is so important.
and as an old coach, I mean, we talk about this, and I get pushback because at the high school level, you're really serious athletes. Go back to volleyball.
Yep.
You can play for your high school team, but if you're serious, you're on a club team somewhere.
Yep.
You're trying to get picked up by a college. That's a shame. It is kind of a shame. But if you come in as a superintendent, and if the school board encourages, a superintendent can say, today we start winning. And whether it's in athletics, in the classroom, in discipline, in getting college kids, college path kids, college ready, or getting trade path kids trade ready, that can start at the school board level, and it can start with the superintendent. Today, we start winning. Now, way back before you were alive, Vince Lombardi went and became the head coach of the Green Bay Packers, who sucked. And there's a now famous phone call that Bart Starr made to his wife after the first meeting with the coach. He said, hey, we're about to start winning around here. And I think that's contagious, right? That's the oomph that you guys can give to the super.
Sure. And again, it's now that the superintendent's there, it's all about the support that you can give to keep that ball rolling, because momentum, like you said, is key in sports and life, in business. So getting that momentum, sustaining that momentum, and then not having a drop when one thing goes the other way. When there's maybe a loss here, a loss there, you get back up and you keep pushing forward to that goal. And that's what I hope to see with VISD.
How can voters in your district reach out to you, or how can they find out more if they want to know more about your?
So I've got my Facebook page. I think you can find it also through my personal Facebook page. My personal Facebook page is public. I've got nothing to hide on there, but just Josh Moore for school board.
You're not like in a Speedo or anything like that.
Not that I can remember.
Okay, good.
I've had the same Facebook page since
There was more of those Australian rower shorts.
Right.
So they're not quite. They're short, but not that short.
But I've had my Facebook since I've had MySpace, and if you can find my MySpace page, you might find some things questionable. I don't know.
Your fledgling music career back then.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. TikTok doing videos.
Yep. So
Great.
yeah, I have like I said, I'm just looking forward to providing that support with the school board. I live in Mission Valley right now. My kids go to Mission Valley, and the school is about to be finished. It's a great looking school out there, but more so is that community feel that our kids have at Mission Valley. They're in portable buildings right now.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to them.
Amen.
What matters to them is the teachers care about them. My students feel like they're part of a family out there. I want to see if we're able to build new schools, build more community type schools like we have in Mission Valley, where kids can feel more part of a total family instead of a group of 5,000 students. I don't know if it can happen, but we do need more schools, and we've gotten rid of some of the more rural schools in the area. And
some of that's a product of finance.
Oh, for sure. It's almost all a product of finance, but trying to build that community with schools, because my kids love to go to school. The teachers know when they're not there.
I tend to agree a little bit, and I don't have the data to back it up, but my feeling is we seem to have better outcomes when schools were embedded in neighborhoods and smaller.
Well, when kids could walk to school, and they walk to school with their friends, and it was
parents don't let them walk anywhere these days. So
life.
there's that.
Sure.
Clayton Meyer's got a question for you. What's your stance on school vouchers?
School vouchers. So that's a mixed bag right there, school vouchers, because there's the legislation right now isn't 100% clear. I like that parents can choose where to send their kids, but there's, as far as homeschool and private school, I don't know that the government should have to regulate testing and things like that. And so when the money follows that, there tends to be government overreach when the money follows things.
Right.
And so I want the parents to have the ability to say, I want my kids to go here, 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 because if you've got a school that's failing and you want your kids in a different school, either at public or private, you want them to have that ability. However, again, the government overreach on tying dollars and cents to regulation is never a good thing. Never a good thing. And that's why it's a mixed bag, because I don't want my kids are in VISD. I don't want that funding to go down. I would like to see it go up in a lot of cases, and there's a lot of way that can be achieved. But just giving vouchers and saying go to a private school, go to a homeschool, and also having the government's hand in those decisions makes it very tricky.
Another question was, do you have any ideas on how to get more support and trust from the community?
I think it's a lot of perception. Right now, perception is key. When it comes to bond elections, I think the perception was that they're just taking more money out of my pocket. You've got to change that mindset when it comes to a lot of the thinking and a lot of the approach from VISD to get that perception where you're increasing student success. You can show the dollars and cents difference between a new school and just paying for funding. So it's two-handed. You've got to change what you're doing at the same time changing public's perception, because public's perception right now is they keep asking for more money and keep failing.
Right.
So you've got to do both of those things at the same time.
So we're visiting with Josh Moore. He's a candidate for school board here in Victoria. Both BJ Nelson, current school board member, and Micah Patton, current school board member, point out that parents can choose now where their kids go. If your school's failing, you can move them now, but you're moving them without
Any help?
without any help financially. So I think that was his point.
Yeah.
He wants you to have that freedom, but he's not sure about, do I want, I mean, you're not going to tell St. Joe what to teach. So at the end of the day, hey, we're going to have to jet. This is our senator calling.
Yeah.
But thank you. And thank
thanks
you
for
for being
having
a
us.
good guy running a tough race. And we appreciate that
Thank y'all.
very much. Hey, thank you. That was Josh Moore, candidate for school board, and we'll get to him. We're joined now by Senator Lois Kohlkorst, our senator for district, what is it, 18?
About 1 million constituents.
She has about 1 million constituents, all of whom like her. Did you know she got 100% of the vote last time? How are you, ma'am?
I'm great. I wish that were the truth, but I
It's
do
our-
work for
it's
all
our story.
100% of them.
We can lie. It's
That-
our story, it's our story.
I
How are
love
you this
that.
morning? I know you're super busy. I cannot overemphasize our appreciation for you taking time to reach out and for your accessibility. Your office staff was key in this, and Andrea was just awesome. And we really, really appreciate a few moments of your day when I know how your day is packed. I've been in your office. I've seen it. Looks like a beehive with just people running everywhere. And thank you for your time.
You bet. It's great to be on this morning, and we are busy. It's been a busy session, and of course, I do a lot of the budget, and we've been in what we call work groups for 3 weeks, and so we've been very focused on that. But the budget is about to be voted out of the Senate and goes on to the House, and that's the only bill that the Constitution says we have to pay. And unlike the federal government, we pass a balanced budget. So we're working. We are working.
You mean there'll
Every
be no
year.
continuing resolution and debt ceiling increase?
No.
Isn't that something?
No,
Does that
only-
does that seem crazy to you? I mean, after being in the Senate, does that seem crazy to you that the feds operate that way?
It's a little scary. Yes. Texas is a conservative state. If we were a nation, we'd be the 8th largest economy we are the 8th largest economy in the world. And as a nation, we would rank 8th. So we're about to overtake France. We're way ahead of Canada and Russia. So we, have a big economy, but we stay within the bounds.
And
So-
Australia, correct? I've heard Glenn Hager make that
Yeah.
speech, and you
Right.
just leave there just going, I'm proud to be a
Australia's way
Texan.
behind us.
Yeah.
Put it in
absolutely.
perspective. We talk a lot about Russia, and Texas has a bigger economy than Russia.
So
Wow.
a lot of buzz, Senator Kohlkorst, right now about the bill you filed yesterday, Senate Bill 2361, if my memory serves me correctly, to move the University of
correct.
Houston, Victoria to the Texas A&M University system. Can you talk a little bit about maybe what led up to this, or why you feel the time is now to introduce this bill and make this change?
There have been a lot of talks, and of course, there's a history with Representative Morrison looking at this. When I became senator in Victoria, I had some very frank conversations with the University of Houston, Victoria, that I wanted to see it grow or for them to invest in it. And I think as we hit COVID, UHV has never really recovered, honestly. Before that, UHV was very heavy in online classes, which made it kind of unique in the state of Texas. COVID hit and lots of classes at every university go online. And that led to a lot of competition, students being able to choose other places if they wanted to go online. Unfortunately for UHV, they did not, they didn't have the blended approach. We don't have that many students on campus for face-to-face classes. And with that, enrollment has just steeply gone down. And it's been a concern. So Chancellor Couture and I have had many conversations, and she is at the point, and so is the Board of Trustees, that what I think many of us feel is to start offering courses and classes that are more appropriate for the Victoria Crossroads region. Let's talk about that for a second. We're big in agriculture. We don't have any agriculture classes at UHV. We need engineers throughout the state of Texas, but look at the petrochemical industry that's all around us along the coast. You've got Formosa, you've got Dow Chemical, you've got the nuclear program at Dow Chemical. We need engineering degrees. Literally, UHV does not offer one. Then, we've been talking about the Eagle Ford Shale, all of the oil and gas. Y'all have heard President Trump say, liquid gold, drill, baby, drill. We have no degrees associated with actually the industries that are producing for our state in the Crossroads region and around it. Now, it isn't that we're going to do away with any current degrees, but we're going to pinpoint, just like Victoria College is doing right now, going to the industry and saying, what is it you need? What are the degrees you need? And to produce those degrees so that we can be an economic engine there. And I think really when you put the Texas A&M brand on that university, plus fitting more appropriately the degrees that A&M can offer, get started very quickly, I think this is a real win-win for the Victoria area.
We talk often about how we recruit kids to come here, and how do we retain them? Why do our best and brightest go off to college and then never come back? I think that a key step would be to, as you said, offer degree plans that allow them to get good paying jobs, career jobs in the region. The idea that a kid could go to school here and then go to work at Dow and live here is a lot more likely than a kid getting even a business degree and then just hoping to find a job in Victoria. So yeah, I like the idea. How do you take what seems to be a distressed property and sell it to A&M?
Yeah, we're not selling anything. They'll be giving it to A&M because everything built on that campus was from the taxpayers. The people of Texas own that campus. It's the stewards of UH that they are the stewards of it. And so you have to do this through a bill. And it's been done many times. If you look at Angelo State was in the Texas State University system. It was, less than 10 years ago that we transferred that to the Texas Tech system. It was around 3,000 to 4,000 students. It's now over 12,000 students.
Wow.
They're doing great. That's the Texas Tech system. We have moved schools around. We recently took Stephen F. Austin. It was not in the system, and we moved that to the University of Texas system. This happens. It doesn't happen all the time. It happens, once a decade, but it's now Victoria's time. And this is something that, honestly, I've been focused on for a decade. Just had to find the right time to do it. I never wanted it to be combative with the University of Houston. And quite honestly, I've funded several things at the University of Houston to give them a pathway to grow the university, like the pilot school that we're trying to get up and running. And again, it's nothing against the University of Houston. Since 1973, they've done a great job. It's just, I feel like, and as I talked to Chancellor Couture, when we came out of the pandemic, everything shifted on us. And again, they were heavy online. Sugar Land moved away from Victoria and moved to the main campus. That took a lot of students with them. But again, mostly online students. So the entire focus needs to be with Texas A&M or whomever takes the university is complete focus on rebuilding face-to-face students. And again, think about how good that would be, face-to-face teaching, how good that would be for the Victoria area.
Yes, ma'am.
Having professors actually live in the Crossroads region instead of living in San Antonio or Houston. That's an economic driver for Victoria, but that is not why we're doing this. We are doing this because it is good and right for the state of Texas to be able to produce students that will go into the workforce in our region, which is an economic driver for the entire state and, quite honestly, for the nation and the world. With our ports and, again, with petrochemical, we have huge agriculture. I mean, look at the ranging that goes on around in the Crossroads region. We do not offer one agriculture degree at UHV.
That's really something. And we're visiting with Texas Senator Lois Kohlkorst. She's your senator, state senator, if you're listening in this region. I find so people are asking questions. Is there housing for these future students? Yes. UHV has empty dorms as we speak.
We have so many empty dorms.
What do you think about you'll recall, it wasn't that long ago, certainly in the last decade, there was conversation about, well, when we get to 6,000 students, and there's never been a plan to get to 6,000 students. It was just, if we build it, they will come, which didn't work. Do you see, by offering these new degree plans, there's not a joke here, but you rename a Mexican restaurant and the parking lot's full for the first 3 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, people can't wait to go there. Same chef, same owner, everything's still the same. Are we going to make a focus at, if it becomes such, A&M Victoria, to have more face-to-face? I mean, is that going to be a requirement? We will have face-to-face. Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. We've had conversations with Texas A&M. They've come down and they've surveyed, and they've had regents come and look at the campus. They've also had some of their best business folks come down and look, and that's the first thing they say to me and to our leaders. And let me say this, whether it's our county judge or our mayor or many of the business leaders in the Victoria area, they have been very involved in this conversation.
Fantastic.
State Representative A.J. Lauterbach, he and I were on the phone last night at 10:30 about this particular bill that I filed. There's been lots of involvement, a whole bunch of conversation, because again, Texas A&M is not going to take something that they don't think they can do a good job with. Now,
Amen.
to University of Houston's defense, they said, if this doesn't work, we will regroup and we will refocus. But again, they are an urban-centric university system in Houston, Texas. They don't do agriculture. They do have engineering degrees. I'm not sure why they never got any up and starting in Victoria. It had been focused mainly as again, an online university. The last time I checked, I think we have less than 500 on-site students.
Yeah, I'm standing next to the AD for UHV, and he's got 180 of them in his athletic program. So, if you get rid of the athletes, you don't have much of a school there at all, like a small elementary school.
Like Victoria East and West are bigger than what we have on campus. But walk that campus, it's beautiful.
It is. It's
I
prime.
mean, it's beautiful. and the other thing is, they're again, Texas A&M, whatever they do well, right?
No doubt.
And they've come in and done a very good assessment. I mean, this isn't just lick your fingers, stick it up in the air, and see which way the wind is blowing. They are drilling down into this to see if they can really, create a university atmosphere, recruit the students. And that's another thing we've been working on. And again, compliments and kudos to a number of leaders in the Victoria, in Victoria that I've been working with, that I'm not doing this alone. I can assure all of you. Governor Abbott has involved himself in this. Of course, Representative Lauterbach and I. But again, I've heard from both our mayor and our county judge, and super excited about their support. There's been letters of support put in. So we are doing this in a very good and methodic way. It's not a done deal. This bill has to go through both the Senate and the House. And honestly, to both of you, we're going to have to get funding for this.
Yeah.
And while
Right.
it appears we have a lot of money in the state of Texas, we do not. There's just a lot of pressure on our budget right now. I just did Article 2. We have all these mental health beds. We're building, last session I was able to get y'all $40 million for a mental health facility in Victoria, which again, if we can get the right degrees at our campus in our four-year institution, and working also with Victoria College, then we can produce degrees. I mean, we can produce more for the medical field. We need more teachers always. There's a lot of things that we can do, and we can do better. It was actually University of Houston, Victoria, UHV Day, on Tuesday here at the Texas State Capitol, and I met with some of the students, and I asked them the question, why did you choose UHV? Many of them chose it. They said, economically, it was a great decision for
Right.
me. One young lady said, it felt more like at home to me. And I said, well, would y'all like to have more face-to-face classes? And they're like, oh my gosh, please, we need it so badly. And I thought that was an interesting reaction.
Yeah. Well, you're
UHV is the lowest four-year institution as far as tuition and fees in the state of Texas. I think the only school lower is Central Texas A&M, and that's a upper level school only in Killeen. So yeah, very economical choice.
Senator Kohlkorst, we know that you're a proud TCU Horned Frog alum. And as a Texas grad, yes, ma'am, I'm keenly aware of your advantage in football over the last couple of decades. And I just think that it's apropos.
Former golfer at TCU.
Absolutely. Before we bring in a whole bunch of Aggies into our community, I do think that the mental health facility is a prerequisite.
They're already here.
Yeah, they're already here. So
John Paul Hall wants to asks, he doesn't want to ask. He asks, what can we do to help?
Yeah, I think, spreading the word, and this is what part of what's going to happen. And I've told our community leaders this. It's not just the state of Texas investing a lot of money. We have to invest in this campus. And that is, over time, every university has donors to it. Every one of them. I mean, I represent Blinn College. Blinn College has a foundation where they raise tons of money to augment. That's a junior college, to augment the different facilities. They do that through a different program. We have to get involved. This is my bottom line. Money, marble, and chalk. Give and get. That is, start giving to the university in every which way, supporting it. You can talk to your friends. You can, over time, we're going to set up a lot of different mechanisms, volunteering there. We're going to support the athletic program. So do things. Let's make this Victoria's university.
And
I will also say that Victoria College, again, I want to compliment Dr. Kent and her staff. Let me give you a stat there. Year over year, they have increased their enrollment by 12%. there was a time when they had declining enrollment. They have reversed. They are now double digit. They are double digit enrollment increases. You know how she did that? She and her team went to the industry and they said, "What degrees do you need?" You know how she also did that? They're going to those high schools and they are recruiting those students. I'm waiting on a set of numbers right now on number of students, the leakage that we have from the Crossroads region and the surrounding universities. Many times, most of the time, regional universities, they recruit from their high schools. That's what we have to do. So how everybody can help is, certainly as this bill moves through the process, we may, have to get some support with that. Not going to be easy.
Yes, ma'am.
Letting the lieutenant governor and the governor know that this would be so positive with letters of support, emails, phone calls that they support Senate Bill 2361. Just, building that momentum. We've got to get the bill passed before we can do anything else.
Yeah. And there's still 6 more steps to get there. So the first one is
a lot.
Yeah, it is. The first one's done though, with you filing this bill, and we're at the top of the hour. So we've got to cut this short, but as this progresses, as this moves forward, we'd love to have you back, Senator.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Look forward to it.
You do complete, as far as I know, you complete the, all from Michael Cloud to the, local, the mayors and county judge and city manager, of course, Sheriff Louderback, everybody, you complete our,
Bingo
tour
card.
through all of the elected officials in our region. And we really, really appreciate your time. And I think you were extremely informative. We wish you nothing but the best. And I promise you, our audience prays for you. So God bless. And thank you for all
Y'all
you
keep
do.
praying.
Yes, ma'am.
Keep praying for our nation and our community.
Absolutely.
Amen.
So much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Senator.
Senator Lois
Bye-bye.
Kohlkorst, District 18, discussing the
awesome.
bill she filed yesterday, Senate Bill 2361. You heard her. Write your letters of support if you're in support of it, and get them up to the legislature.
Yes. Just great to be able to have access to folks like that the day after the bill is filed. That's what I can't emphasize, is that we don't have to wait 2 weeks to get a conversation, and hats off to her for that. So
Wade and Carter bingo night tonight. We appreciate all our sponsors. Sometimes these sorts of conversations with a candidate for school board and our state senator, they take precedence and importance to get information out to you. And our sponsors truly understand that. We'll make it up to them. But tonight's Wade and Carter bingo night at Palace Bingo. So we'll see you there.
and HR Mallory,
7:30 tonight.
just stop it, HR. Just stop it.
And we appreciate y'all tuning in.
Love you folks. Have a great day.
And we'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye, folks.
Bye-bye, folks.